Another one. We're ready. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm not alone today. This is my good friend Julia. Want to tell our friend's story?
Yeah. So Jazz and I were in our same program in university, so we both took kin. I unfortunately didn't get to go to school until our final year, but I first met Jazz's boyfriend Noah, then he introduced us, and that's how that started.
Actually, we did meet on Zoom third year, but that was just like erased from our memory. I think that's a COVID trauma response. We completely forgot until I remembered that she had a certain like setup of her barbell in her basement, and then I saw it in one of your videos, and then it just clicked. Yeah. We were also in a club together called Kin Games. We became really close on there, and now she came all the way to Alberta to visit. She's awesome. Glad I met her. As you can see, we have our coffee mugs. We were gonna do wine, but it is 9:30 in the morning. Sometimes that's necessary, but
I think it's necessary today.
Yeah. What is it? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
just
needed
Tuesday.
for Tuesday.
I appreciate everyone that messaged me some questions. We'll basically be doing like a girly talk. We kind of had 3 categories of questions. Fitness related, one of them being mental health related, and then we also had some spicy questions.
We like the spicy questions.
We like the spicy ones. Coffee, our sports bra, our sweatpants. We are ready for our girly chat. We're gonna start with some fitness related questions. The first question is, what is our best part or our favorite part of being active?
For me, I think my favorite part about being active is just how it makes me feel. Personally, my favorite way to be active is like weight training. So I like feeling strong. It makes me, that just makes me feel good. And obviously it's also really good for my mental health. It helps me stay calm and de-stress. And I think that's probably my most effective and my favorite outlet.
Of course, like being active looks different for everybody. Like I also prefer weight training. We have that in common. Just something about it. The endorphins are just better than, we did a hike 2 days ago, which felt great after, but we were both saying yesterday that during the hike, we were just kind of like, why am I doing this? But then you get to the top, you see the views and they're beautiful. You get to the bottom, you feel you're like, I just went up and down that mountain. Yeah. The best part of it is just knowing that I am there, like committing to myself. I've been consistent for a long time with it. So it just kind of reminds me that I am very capable of committing to me. How to stay consistent in the gym when you personally don't see your progress. This one is really tough for people too. Like when you feel like you're putting all the work in and you're like, okay, I'm not seeing either my goal, let's say it's weight loss, or let's say it's, to build certain muscle groups or anything like that, when you're not seeing that. But also just like taking a step back and remembering like all the other benefits that aren't necessarily physical, because I think when we think progress, oh my god.
Okay, that's funny.
What was I saying? Maybe when you look in the mirror, you don't necessarily see the physical progress, kind of like get down on yourself, but then you also have to remember like there's so many other things that you're improving by doing something like consistently being active, like your mental health, like we touched on, just consistency in general. Also like how that's going to set you up like in the future when you're older, or even when you're in a mental rut. At least you're showing up for you.
Yeah, because just because you're, like Jazz kind of said, just because you're working towards, like maybe your goal might just be to be losing weight or gaining muscle mass or whatever, like aesthetic goal, I guess. There's so many more benefits than just that you may not think about normally. I would also say if you feel like you aren't seeing the physical progress, we're really bad as humans at seeing progress on ourselves. I, for example, could see no progress, but wait till she's done.
It's her time, it's her moment. I think we're good.
Okay. I may not see progress on myself, but Jazz might see it.
Lucy! We're filming!
I may not see progress on myself, but Jazz might see me a month from now and notice the physical progress that I feel like I'm not seeing. I think one of the best things in terms of aesthetic goals is to be taking progress pictures or videos or whatever. And it's not all about that aesthetics. Sometimes you just need that proof. Because when you're seeing yourself in the mirror every single day, you're not going to notice the progress that you're making.
Let's say your goal is to be active to treat depression or treat something mental health related or mood related. You could also just keep a log on how you do feel throughout the week. As people, a lot of us base it all on aesthetic. To track those other things can also be really beneficial because then maybe in those times where you're like, oh, I feel like I look the same, and maybe you didn't take the progress pictures, or maybe you don't notice it in the progress pictures because we are our worst critics as well.
Exactly.
You can kind of go back to what you wrote down, even if this is in journaling or if you just have a separate log for it. You could even just see you know what though, my mood and my attitude and my motivation and all these other things have improved.
What are your thoughts on therapy? Have you ever tried it?
I love therapy. I have tried therapy, a few different resources for therapy. I found that going to therapy got me to kind of better understand myself and why I react certain ways, why certain things trigger me. To find a lot of benefits, you have to be open to it, and not a lot of people like to talk about certain things from the past or how they feel with basically a stranger. Some people do, right? But I say this all the time. I say I don't it doesn't matter who you are, anyone could benefit from therapy because anybody could benefit through working through things,
There's a stereotype around therapy, so a lot of people think it's the classic you're sitting and you're just venting and the therapist is just listening, nodding their head, how does that make you feel, all that, but it's not it can be like that for sure, but there's so many different types of therapy. So obviously there's talk therapy, there's CBT, there's a few others, I forget what their names are, but they're just different. There's different techniques that they use and that they're trained with. Just because the first person you start talking to, if you don't like them, it doesn't mean therapy isn't for you or it's not going to work for you. It just means that you haven't found the right therapist yet. I mean, I've been lucky when I've been to therapy. I've liked who I've been with and we clicked well. But sometimes you do have to go. It's kind of like anything. If you're seeing a massage therapist, even or a physio or a chiro or a dentist, maybe, I don't know.
Honestly, dentist. I agree to that. I agree.
Sometimes you just have to try different people before you find the one that works best for you. I've been in 3 different times in my life. So it's one of the best things I could have done for myself. And like you were saying, people can feel very uncomfortable talking to a stranger about I guess just your life or what's going on in your life. But I looked at it as this person doesn't know anything about me, which is kind of nice. I like talking to a stranger that's totally unbiased better than talking to somebody, whether it's a friend or a family member that's already in my life and knows these situations.
And also you might not be fully honest about things.
They might be someone that you might talk to about in therapy.
It does kind of suck when you're no longer a student and you don't have benefits for therapy. There is a lot of free resources. Some require a wait list, some are just online. So there's definitely options for people that don't have benefits or insurance.
Hopefully healthcare does move. You would think, hopefully sometime soon it moves to including more mental health in our healthcare system, at least in Canada. I don't know if there's anybody watching elsewhere, but my family health team has a social worker on the team, so I just had to go to my doctor and they referred me to the social worker. So for anybody who might be looking, it wouldn't hurt to ask your doctor if they have a social worker or some type of therapist or psychiatrist on the health team.
It's spicy time. We're just gonna start with a simple turn-on, turn-offs. We both kind of came up with a list of...
They're basically ones that we both agree on.
The shady ones are pretty because we are human, okay?
Yeah. We can be superficial.
Yeah, of course we can. So for the turn-ons, a big one that we talked about is independence, and obviously this is a pretty big one because we're, young adults, and at this stage of our life, obviously independent would be attractive because able to do things on their own.
Yeah, and they're not going to rely on you or be dependent on you or others.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a certain level of dependence, I think,
on
your partner or friends, family, whatever, but there's definitely a line that you can cross
Yeah.
with being too
At the end
dependent.
of the day, you should be making your appointments.
Yeah.
You should be doing your own laundry.
So vulnerability and being open to having hard conversations and just deeper conversations. I personally would rather be connecting with someone on a deeper, more emotional level. I just don't like that superficial crap. Like, if you can do that, it's good.
That's like a true like partnership instead of just being, you know, like lovey-dovey and like mwah, mwah, mwah. It doesn't really mean much unless you do have that deep connection.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like you're not ready for that deep connection.
It takes a long time to build that.
does.
You can't, I mean, some people I'm sure can do that right away, but
Yeah.
yeah, you got to get comfortable with the other person,
Yeah.
and it takes time.
It takes the right person.
Yeah,
too.
I'm not expecting somebody to be able to do that like that.
Mhm.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, so
yeah.
confidence. How would I describe confidence that I'm attracted to? Like, this is who I am. You know, I'm proud of who I am.
Mhm.
Also, like, confidence does go along with, like, being open about, I think, okay, this may sound really weird, but being confident that you also have insecurities.
It's like confidence, but humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to. I do too, and I think that's something I like too, because I know my confidence levels can be pretty low sometimes. So
Mhm.
if I'm with somebody who's a bit more confident, then I mean, you're influenced by the people you spend your time
Yeah.
with. So I think it gives me a bit of a confidence boost, and
If you're around that kind of energy, then you,
it rubs off on you.
yeah,
a
it does
little
rub,
bit.
rub off on you. Just like if someone is negative, like just
It
like
definitely-
negative
yeah.
talk and stuff like that. So
Oh, that can be a good turn off too. That we didn't add.
yeah,
the
that is a
negative.
good turn off.
Yeah. Add that after.
Okay, now we're gonna go superficial because it's
fun.
girl talk. Like,
Okay,
you
my
go first.
more superficial one is arms.
The guns.
If you've got nice arms, bonus points if they're tatted.
Mine are based on things that like I don't have. They like nice lips
a
and
good
eyes,
one.
like big
Eyes,
eyes.
too.
Because like I have small eyes and small lips, so I just find them really
I find
attractive.
eyes are the things that I notice on somebody first too.
Yeah. Everybody says that they like lighter eyes, and I do think they're beautiful, but like I just love dark eyes. A bit more mysterious.
That's fair.
If you have like a sweet man with dark eyes, just
Describing
describing
Noah.
Noah. Okay, turn off.
Two kind of go together is if you're a little ego-oriented, maybe a little too cocky, like there's a line between confidence and cocky. Along with that, mansplaining. It could be intentionally or unintentionally putting us down and
Making
explaining
us feel
things,
smaller.
making us feel unintelligent. And like we were having this discussion earlier, and we both had men explain things that we are very educated on.
And that are
And-
very like specific even to our
Women and us.
anatomy.
Yeah, if you're trying to make it sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about in the area that I've spent 4 years studying, then I don't love that.
When a male tries to tell me about my menstrual cycle, I think it's fair to say if you have not ovulated or went through a lot of education on it in general, then I think we know a little bit more, even though like we actually don't know enough.
Well, this is what's happening on your period, and that's why you feel this way. Or this is what's happening, so like you can't use this as an excuse to do whatever.
Yeah. Or, oh, well, I heard that you can only get pregnant this many days, so we don't have to use protection. That was an intense example, but like that's how
It's
it grinds the gears.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know where I'm at in my cycle. Are you on my apps? Have you hacked my apps? Obviously, no one likes to be lied to, so like dishonesty is a huge one. Doesn't matter what it's about, like that is definitely a turn off. Even about like little things, like that just like makes me think, okay, so this is gonna be a pattern. Like if he feels like lying about these little things, then who knows in the future. And like,
It's not what you lied about always, it's just the fact that you did lie. It's not cute, guys. Acting differently around friends. It almost makes you question like who's the real you? Like, are you the person that you are around your friends, or are you the person you are around me? There are certain things you'll say and do in front of your friends versus your family and whatever it's given, but if you're like a totally different person around your friends, then yeah, you're kind of like, okay, well, who are you?
it's how like you treat your partner or your someone that you're seeing at the time, how you treat them in front of your friends being different, like your body language being cold. That stuff is the biggest turn off.
Yeah.
Before my relationship, like I felt like I experienced that a lot. And I think that also goes with the ego oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just thinking about how they look around their friends and they don't want to look like a sim. If you care about this person and you want to build something serious with them, you should probably not treat them like crap. You know?
Yeah. Oh. Hey puppies.
Hi. Hey Frank. Oh.
Our next spicy question is, why do you think women are less satisfied during sex? I think the big one is our anatomy is very different
no one
and
really
more
knows,
complicated.
I think sometimes our partners don't make the effort to know it so that we feel satisfied, because we are obviously a lot more complex.
The anatomy, like anatomically, just more complex.
Yeah, we got more layers, we got more
and that's
components.
Yeah, and it's not something you're educated in. Like in
No.
high school health class, you're not learning about the pleasure aspect of it.
It's
you're
like
learning about the
birth control.
Yeah.
Condoms.
Yeah.
Abstinence.
People are becoming a bit more comfortable, like through social media, talking about these things. And yes, we're using humor, but we're using humor almost as a way to get awareness.
It's awareness. It's the way the algorithm picks it up.
Yeah. Women, on average, we're speaking in our experience and from what we've been told by friends and like other people in our lives, but we tend to often require a bit more of an emotional connection. I need a more emotional connection in order to feel like a stronger physical connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can't just dive right
No,
in.
emotional connection, foreplay. Not saying that the opposite sex, so like males don't need that. We're just saying like on average, like we need that a little bit more because, you know, we are a little bit more complex in terms of, you know, pleasure and feeling connected and like, I don't know, we accept the fact that we are.
Yeah.
And I honestly love the fact that we are, but it's not always prioritized, so therefore it kind of leads to us feeling unsatisfied. I feel like the expectations, especially in hookup culture, are like the main goal is to sleep with someone and for the male to finish, and then that be like, that's the goal, like that's the end of it. But
we're also talking about like straight heterosexual relationships, just because that's what our experience is. So obviously this doesn't apply to all types of relationships.
That could easily lead to that becoming the expectation for heterosexual relationships and intercourse.
It's also, we don't necessarily like to vocalize that we are, or if or when you are unsatisfied. So like communication with your partner is obviously really important, because I'm sure there's a lot of instances where the male just doesn't realize or doesn't know or can't tell or whatever. So yeah, communication is good. That is harder in hookup culture, obviously, because it's very different. But
most men in that situation would rather know that. Obviously, they want you to be excited for sex too.
And if they don't, then
cut it. Last question. Oh, that's the previous question. Why are so many women afraid to buy vibrators? Or like, I guess, afraid during buying the vibrators?
Or just the thought of buying. The biggest thing is just, I think, sex in general and anything relating to it, and self-pleasure especially. It's almost been a very taboo topic for such a long time. It just makes people uncomfortable. I hate to say it, but some people probably feel kind of gross doing that or thinking about that, or the thought of buying like a vibrator or sex toy or something like that. It's not normalized, I guess, enough.
Especially with like women. Like, I mean, it is normalized to a certain degree that, you know, men masturbate and, you know, like we almost like make humor out of it and stuff, but like when we talk about women doing it, it almost like, as a woman myself, like sometimes I feel, or I used to feel a little bit dirty, like you said, or, you know, that like that should be something I keep to myself. Let's say we're having a girly chat with a bunch of girlies and we mention something like self-pleasure for women. I feel like I've ran into a lot of instances where like a woman will be like, oh no, I've actually never done that. 23, 22 years and you've never tried it. Like, we're just like so to ourselves about it. And I mean, if you haven't tried it, you should definitely try it.
It's just like people are kind of ashamed
Yeah.
because it's not normalized or talked about enough or
Yeah.
accepted, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it.
This might be your sign to buy a vibrator. You can learn a little bit more about what you like when you do it yourself as well. I know,
Yeah.
I know.
His opinion.
I feel like it is becoming a bigger conversation topic.
One good thing about social media is obviously there's a lot of pros and cons to social media, but one of them that I really like is topics like this or therapy, like we talked about earlier, and things like that are being slowly starting to be talked about more.
Yeah.
So then once you see that other people relate or other people are open to talking about those things, then you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and then hopefully it becomes much more normalized.
Yeah, that's all the questions that we have. We hope you guys enjoyed this little girly chat. Julia is visiting, but I'm sure there will be
I'll be back.
another video with Julia. Want to do the little spiels?
Like,
This video?
subscribe, so you never miss another video with Jazz again.
Yes. And also, I noticed I got a few more subscribers. I think we're at like 35.
That's good. You're growing.
Appreciate
We're
all
growing.
of you. Cheers to the girl chit chat. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.